You're in a pinch and need the diagram for a proper interview setup, this is what you're going to use if your subject is on the left, and this is what you're going to use if your subject is on the right. I'm showing you this because I've been in that pinch before and needed it right away while I'm on set, and so here you go. I did not create these icons, this page right here did, and they're one of my favorite follows on Instagram just to understand how different techniques were used, so I highly recommend them. But I did create these diagrams, so feel free to screenshot these and save them for future use. When I first started out in video, I really struggled on the interview piece, not so much just where to interview the people at, but also where the camera placement was, where the lighting placement was, and all that good stuff. So hopefully this right here can answer all those questions for you, so you can watch this and go do a perfect interview setup. First up, location. Finding a place that's going to be quiet and you have control over the sound as much as you can is going to be greatly important. You're also going to want a good background for the setting, something that is pleasing to the eye. And in this setup, we actually used my living room and we have a newly done fireplace, and so we thought, hey, what if we highlighted that fireplace in the back? There's a lot of creative availability when it comes to framing. And generally you'll want the person on the left looking to the right of the frame or on the right looking to the left of the frame. Every once in a long time I will put the person in the center, but almost always that's just for teleprompter readings when they're reading directly into the camera, but I have done it before. With this setup, in the backdrop, we decided to put our subject on the left of the frame looking to the right. We are going to put our interviewer on the right of the camera so that way they're looking at each other. You could have figured that out. It's also best if the interviewer and the subject are matching in eye level as well as the camera. So whatever you need to do, if you need to raise one person up or lower one person, whatever you can do, you want to make sure those are all on the same level, otherwise you get some weird looks. Hi, week later, Tyler here. I just wanted to say something about that. Although I do agree with it, that might be more as you're starting out to get a safe look. But as you grow, you can kind of stretch the bounds and get more creative. Even, for example, with this shot here, we had Dame sitting much higher than where the camera angle was, but it was a wider camera angle. And as you go tighter, you can kind of tell those differences a little bit more, and it can get a little awkward. So the wider you go, the more flexibility you have, but the tighter, you kind of want to stick near that eye line. Okay. Back to the other Tyler. And this is where I went wrong so much early in my career. The B camera needs to be on the same side of the interviewer as the A camera, just a little bit further out that direction. And this keeps the 180-degree rule. And what that rule is saying to stay on one side of two people interacting. In this case, we're only seeing one person, but if we were to move to the other side, they're now looking from the right to the left. So to keep continuity, we're going to stay to the left. Lastly, make sure you're at different focal lengths between the A camera and B camera. You want to have a different looking frame from camera A to camera B. This allows the viewer to know that we're switching cameras. Otherwise, the background just shifts a little bit. I've done this myself, regret it, wouldn't recommend it. Our key light is our main source of lighting, and it's going to go to the opposite side of the interviewer, so that way our cameras are actually capturing the shadow side, not the light side. You're going to get more depth when you're on the shadow side. Big tip right there. The closer you are to the light, the more flat the image is going to look, so we want that depth. There's no set rules on the angle at which you put the key light. It's all going to vary on your situation and what kind of look you want. For me, I really like having it at about a 45-degree angle. If you are going for a very dramatic look, you can throw it very far to the side and get much more shadow on one side of the face. And now we have our bounce or our fill. This isn't even a light, it's just a reflector or a reflective of some kind to be able to bounce the light coming from your key light onto the shadow side of your subject's face. Here it is with it off, here it is with it on. The difference that it makes isn't huge, but it will make all the difference when you go to deliver this video. It takes away from the dramatic side, so if you want more of a dramatic look, you can absolutely go for a negative fill, which would be instead of a white sheet doing a black sheet, and that would subtract light from that side of their face. Next, we have our edge light or our hair light. What this does is it separates the subject from the background. I like to do this opposite of the key light just because it doesn't blend in as much with the light that's coming from the key light. And just to show another example, here I have my hair light right up there, and it kind of makes it look like this practical light, which we'll get to in a second, is giving me this light in the corner. But if I turn this off, you can see it's coming from a different source. Practicals are lights that are in the shot, such as the one behind me here. In this interview setup, we had two, and one of them isn't actually fully in frame. So the one on the opposite side gives that look as if there is one on the left side, but we definitely wanted those turned on to add to the background and then also give us an excuse to use that edge light and make it look more realistic. With that light being on the same side as our edge light, we're able to use that as motivation and match the color of the sconce with our edge light to make it seem like that edge is coming from that light in the background. Does that make sense? Nikki, does that make sense? Now that everything is good to go, it's time for audio. That kind of rhymed. For me, I get everything framed up and then I bring the boom all the way down into frame and then lift it just up out of frame to make sure that I'm as close to them as I can without interrupting the frame. And then I angle that bad boy down at their chest, just a little bit out in front of them. You want that as close to them as you can get without getting distorted audio or getting in the shot. So if I were to be all the way back here and I'm talking, to bring it up to the proper level for audio, you can hear so much more echo. And that's why you want to be close enough for them to hear you properly, like this. I don't know if that was cool or not. That would seem kind of lame, huh? I also use lavalier mics generally as a backup, just in case something happens with our boom, but I always want to have two sources of audio coming out so that way we're ensured we are getting that audio. The big thing on like TikTok now is to take this bad boy and like clip it right there. And it's always showing for some reason. Like I don't get why they, even if they were to do that, don't do more that side, and then it just kind of shows the clip more. I don't know. Either way, this drives me nuts. You will never see me do this unless like I'm interviewing a naked man and need to like clip it to his nipple or something. I don't know. Well, that does it. That was fun. Here's some other videos. Maybe watch one or click the like button. Thanks.